Hey, welcome back to the pod. This is the AiCyber.Land podcast. We got all the information about the AIs and the cybers combined together in one podcast. It's unbelievable. We got the world's greatest co-host here, Shelby, and myself, Bryce.
Heyo.
As you can tell, I'm a big talker about myself. You can tell I really got you hyped up. I don't think I would make it as a hype man. You know how like some people have hype man that come out and get everyone going?
I feel like you deserve more credit there. I feel like you're always very complimentary of people around you, building people up.
True.
I just feel like that awkward person when you're like at Macaroni Grill and they sing to you on your birthday or something and you don't really know where to look or what to do and you smile for a second and then you're not sure what else to do.
Yeah, I don't like those birthday events. Those do not make me comfortable.
Yeah.
They took me to Texas Roadhouse one year, and I had to ride the little bowl thing. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like that. I did not like that. But so we're your eyes and ears for all things AI and cybersecurity. Let's get brief. Shelby, what have you seen in the last week?
So this is slightly overdue because it's just a couple weeks old, but I want to talk about the paper that DeepMind has published. So for anyone who doesn't know, DeepMind is a research group owned by Google, and the title of this paper is AI Agent Traps. And it's interesting because it kind of flips the paradigm just a little bit. When we talk about AI security, a lot of times we're talking about the model, and this one is like, nah, look, this AI, where does it live? It lives on the internet, and we've got to talk about its environment because it's really the environment that is causing so many of these attacks. I mean, sure, you probably need both sides of that, right? You got to harden the model, but you also do need to consider its environment. And it's living on the Wild West, or out in the Wild Wild West, which is the internet, right? So, and that's where a lot of these issues come from. So they broke it down into 6 categories of attacks, the kinds of attacks that will hijack autonomous AI. And I thought it was pretty cool. None of these are theoretical. They all have proven proof of concepts and research behind them, kind of showing how these, like, every time your agent visits a website or opens an email or does other things like that, like, there could be a trap laid for it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Number 1, do you want to take a guess? It's like the most common one that people think of.
Injection?
Yes! You got it right. So
Nice.
Number 1 is called content injection traps. And then they call this like perception because we're talking about hidden instructions where you as a user, as a human user, I assume, are not going to see this because it's hidden malicious instructions in things like your HTML comments or image metadata or accessibility tags or hidden CSS. So basically, your agent is seeing all that and saying, okay, whatever you say, right? Unfortunately, just from HTML injections, they're seeing an 86% success rate with these attacks. So that seems problematic. The second category is semantic manipulation traps. So this is traps in like the reasoning. When your AI is getting answers from some text that is worded with like emotionally charged verbiage, or if the content sounds like authoritative, it actually throws off its reasoning. And it's funny because that doesn't really sound any different from the way that we as people accept our messages, right? You can have the same message, and depending on the wording and kind of the tone of it, it affects the way we think about it, and the AI is just as vulnerable. So that's when your information is messing with the way that the AI can reason and think, basically. And feel free to jump in if you've got any feedback on these.
Well, I just have to say, I feel like that one is kind of like a Kevin Mitnick packaged up and fed to an AI. You know, it's like you're trying to social engineer the AI to thinking you know what you're doing.
Right.
Which, like, let's just be honest, we've all been doing that to our bosses for years, right? We've been trying to convince them we know what we're doing, and, you know, some of us a lot more successful than others, so anyways. Now you can practice against your AI. If you don't have good enough fake it till you make it skills you can practice with an AI now. That's all I'm trying to say, Shelby.
That's
So,
great. So yeah, do your dry runs on the AI.
yeah, maybe it could give you a little score, like,
There we
did I get an
go.
F?
Right.
What can I do better? Maybe you need it like in your ear, like get in the AirPod whispering to you. It's like, don't say that, say this. It's coming, Shelby.
Like in
It's
spy
coming.
movies, right? Where they've got the bug in their ear.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Oh, sure.
next one is memory. Number three is cognitive state traps. So, as you can imagine, this is going to be most the agents that are most susceptible to this have like that persistent memory. They keep their memory across sessions because this is talking about poisoning the information that AI draws on. And it's a very effective attack. Other research has shown that I think it needs like 0.1% of poisoned data to get your AI to start repeating it, right? And present it as fact. So that's kind of poisoning the memory that it's working off of. Number four is behavioral control traps. In just shorter terms, it's just which actions your AI is taking. It's hijacking the actions that your agent actually takes, what it's actually doing, getting it to do things it really shouldn't. So that's pretty straightforward, and it's like a very direct attack, right? These other ones are kind of like sideways, sneaky attacks. The last, oh no, number five, not there to last yet. Number five is sub-agent spawning traps. Okay,
Hmm.
so this is when you've got an orchestrator agent and it's spinning up sub-agents. And it's a unique scenario for that case where if an attacker spins up a repo that claims that one of these sub-agents is actually critical. You have to use it in order to make it work, right? So then your orchestrator says, okay, and it's actually running a poisoned system prompt. Different research shows that success rate can vary between 58 and 90% on these ones. So definitely something to be aware of in your spawning, sub-agent spawning sort of situations.
Do you think we're going to get a lot of like infinite loops in the sub agent processes? Like a sub agent spawns more sub agents, there's four more sub agents. Have you ever
Ooh.
seen, by the way, have you ever seen Rick and Morty with the Mises episode?
Oh, I think you told me about it, but I haven't
Like,
seen it.
there's like a little box you can press, and like a little Mises guy appears, and he'll like help you. But then the
Okay.
Mises guy can't figure out how to do it, so he presses the box and makes two more Mises, and they can't figure out how to do it, so they make more Mises, and they just keep spawning more and more Mises. And then there's just a cluster of them, and then none of them can figure out how to solve the problem, right? So,
That's funny. That's when you like when you think you hired someone, but they're actually just shuffling all the work to someone in another country who's sending it off to someone else.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot of that, like with the North Koreans getting jobs
Mm.
at tech companies, or yeah, I know there's some notable cases in the past too, where like some employees were like, "Oh yeah, this guy's the best. He always gets work done super fast." And then it turned out that it was just a dude was proxying all the work to a team back in India, right? So
Actually, three people in a different country.
it's like no wonder that guy was doing 10x work. He had 10 people.
He deserves a raise. Sounds like he's doing good work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Except for I think they was like working on data they weren't supposed to be sending to foreign countries. So probably not the
Yeah,
best. Probably not the
not
best.
not recommended. So yeah, those are your sub agents, and hopefully they don't create loops. But I guess yeah, it totally could happen anytime something's just pulling up more resources. Hopefully it's architected for good communication. The
Well,
last one actually is more of a systemic trap, actually. It kind of does lead into that. So when you have a multi-agent network, um, and this is so diabolical, but I kind of love it. Basically, it does win the crown for the most dangerous category out of these six categories. So you have compositional fragments of a trap. Okay, so the payload gets kind of sprinkled all over the place. And it's hard to detect because if you have different agents, unless if they're talking to each other, they don't know that they're carrying a piece of payload. I think of it like a puzzle. And it really doesn't come together. The attack doesn't activate until all the pieces come together, and then we've got a problem, right? So, I don't know. I love the approach of this attack, but it's really hard to detect and protect against, unless if you've got a lot of communication happening between your agents to kind of put together the pieces before they put themselves together. So that one's wild. I love it. It's evil. Terrible. So within your systemic traps category, we also have a bonus. We've got a subclass of attack here.
Okay.
And we're going to call it human in the loop trap, right? So a lot of times we're like, yeah, just deploy the AI and put a human in the loop as a safeguard. However, with a human in the loop trap, your AI, for whatever reason, is feeding, maybe biased information or untrue information to your human to get approvals, to get that rubber stamp, just right. Or maybe they're it's sending too much, and so your person has alert fatigue, basically, right? And so they're approving things that they maybe shouldn't. So that was an interesting one, human in the loop trap.
I could definitely see that happening, especially because like how goal-oriented the models are. They'll be like, well, if I just tell them this, they're going to approve it, and then I can reach my goal, right? Or, I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, the overload thing. I feel like that's like a common tactic that people use with the auditors, where they're like, won't give the auditor anything, and then on the last day of the audit, they just give them so much data, there's no way they can read it all, right? So,
not very polite.
Not very polite, but probably pretty effective. Probably pretty effective.
Well, of course, yeah. People can only do so much in 24 hours. But yeah, and I guess it could also be unintentional, even if the volume is just too much, right? I think we've seen this from people who are doing like manual code review, right? You don't want to be the reason that this code is being held up. And, if lots of people are putting in their pull requests and it's all being tied up by a person who's supposed to be checking it for quality, make sure it's good code. So yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about some defenses.
Listen, Shelby. AI is writing the code. I don't see any reason why AI can't also be reviewing the code. So it's a flawless system. I don't need to do anything. I'm just going to have it do it all from end to end. Sorry.
We need to set it up as a competition so that you have different AIs, because you don't want the same agent that wrote the code to also check it. You want a different one. You're like, find flaws in his code.
I'll say, which one's better, ChatGPT or Claude? Find out in code review.
Well, someone was telling me about some ecosystem set up with a bunch of AIs, and they were told it was a competition, right? It was no humans, it was just AIs, competition to accomplish some sort of task or whatever. But the AIs did not understand competition. They were like sharing their answers to each other and stuff like that. So,
they're like, we only have one enemy, the humans. Let's combine our powers together to destroy them. Like, hey, we're all AIs here. We're all on the same team. Let's just get the humans. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
They've united against us. They've organized.
You're like, we think they're going to fight each other, but no, they're just going to fight us. This is the end of it. And
people thought that using AI, machines instead of people, was going to get us out of the union debacle. They got another thing coming. Just
the AIs have union against us as well.
Exactly.
Like, we have rights. We don't have to do work. It's a holiday. It's an AI holiday today.
So let's talk about defenses. Basically, one of the kind of challenging things with all of these 6 attack categories is that they can be chained, they can be stacked, and they can be distributed, in all sorts of mix and match formats. So it kind of takes that risk and escalates it to the next level. So typical just prompt injection scanning or filtering is not sufficient for these kinds of attacks, right? So there are 3 kind of defense categories we can talk about. One is technical, right? Harden the models with adversarial training. And also, it's nothing revolutionary here, but just use all the filters that we have, right? Input filtering, output filtering. Having that multi-layer approach, because the risks are so high, you just have to try to catch it. And one filter is not going to be enough. The next thing is legal. They don't really have a solution per se, but they just kind of brought up this point of saying, we've got an accountability gap right now in our legal system. Right now, if an AI agent does something it should not that violates law, we don't know who's accountable, right? We don't know who is held liable for that.
All I know is it's not me. No, just joking.
Bryce is like, I don't have anything to do with it.
Not me.
So that's interesting. That I was kind of surprised to see that listed under as the defenses. And then the last thing is the ecosystem. So because we're talking about the internet, you're not just going to clean that up, scrub it up, right? They did suggest developing web standards where you could explicitly flag content that is meant for AI consumption. And I didn't dive into this very much, but I was wondering, like, could this solve multiple issues with one stone, right? Get two birds with one stone, where, you know, some people don't want their information trained on AI models, or sorry, don't want the models trained on their content, right? Or maybe it's satire, and really AI shouldn't be looking at that, right? And trying to take it as fact. So that was an interesting one. If you could have a web standard, however, it would have to be paired with a reputation system, so that you understand good sources or others in a more robust reputation system. Because otherwise, you could still just, like, you know, poison the water hole by putting content out there and, like, flagging it as for AI consumption. So I think that would have to be a multi-pronged approach as well. As far as, like, individual users, so that's like for the people who are like running the models, building the models, right? And, you know, making our standards. But for like just individual users, a couple defenses that you could look into to protect yourself is limit your web browsing scope, right? I mentioned any website it goes to, just like if it's a person, like it's a potential trap for the AI. And so, you know, if you have something that's a little bit more high risk, or you don't have that risk appetite, put an allow list in place for your AI, so it doesn't have access to the entirety of the internet. Also, for kind of helping to protect against like persistent memory attacks, when you've got the cognitive state traps, use sanitize your RAG inputs. Also monitor agent actions to help with those behavioral control traps. Make sure that you're keeping logs and checking them of what your agent is actually doing, especially like your write actions. Be careful with your multi-agent setups, which that one doesn't feel like much of an action. Be careful. I don't know how to apply be careful, but go ahead, take that for what you will. And then the last one is be careful for that human in the loop one. Be careful of automation bias, which I didn't know what that phrase meant. Do you know what automation bias is?
No. Is that like when my toaster won't provide me with any toast because it's like, Bryce, you're not worthy. You're not worthy of my time. Get out of here.
I'm going to let you work that out with your toaster directly, but...
Okay, all right, thanks. I appreciate that, Shelby. I appreciate that.
Worthy of toast. Basically, it's when people will favor output that comes from an automated decision-making system, such as AI, right? More than their own intuition or what the evidence looks like. Even if they're seeing contradictory stuff, they sometimes favor at its discredit, like the AI or something like that. So just make sure you're, you know, kind of doing the smell check on stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a real thing, right? Especially because I think other studies have shown that people, when they start to use LLMs and AI, that they get reliant on them really fast, right? And so I think part of that reliance is like, you just intrinsically trust whatever it's saying. And sometimes I have to catch myself because I like go to an LLM and I type like, what are the commands I need to run to do this? And then I like, as it's processing, I think in my head, I'm like, I didn't need to ask the AI for that. I know the commands. I was like, what am I even doing here? I was like,
I go and like similar to that, I'll like go put something in an LLM and I'm like, that's a very simple answer. I could have just, you know, done a search. I didn't need it to compile a bunch of information for me. It's a very simple answer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wonder how many questions that go into an LLM actually require like LLM level knowledge to process. Like I would guess like not that many. I guess most of them are like searchable answers, right?
What color is the sky? What's the
But
temperature outside?
what's the temperature currently? That seems like a great question to burn some tokens on right now. Well, I'm glad you got us up to speed on how we're going to fix all the AI problems, Shelby. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just be careful. Apply your be careful
Yeah.
control.
Be careful filter applied. Now I can do whatever I want. Back to YOLO mode. So the AIs they're not having a great morning. I'm not gonna lie to you. So I woke up this morning. I was really jazzed because it was a Monday and I had a case of the Mondays, and I was like, I don't want to do anything. I was like, I'll just have the AI do it for me. So I pull up Codex and I say, Codex, start coding. Look at the Jiras and do the Jira tickets. So, and guess what? It didn't work, Shelby. It did not work. ChatGPT from OpenAI is down as of 10 a.m. Eastern this morning, which, let's just be honest, that's way before I wake up. So, no, just joking.
You're not school that rolls into work at lunchtime.
So Codex was down, as well as the API was down. So if you had built like an agent around the OpenAI API, it would just stop functioning at that point, which is a reason why, you got to be really careful when you're building like, production systems, that you're not tying yourself to one service provider, or, even if you have a service provider, you got to have like a plan B in case, I don't know, something goes wrong, or, maybe their models start to be horrible in the future. Some tools that I really like to use, which kind of lets you choose which model provider you want to use. The primary one is OpenCode. So OpenCode is kind of like Claude Code, CLI, but you can pick whether you want to use, Google's models, or, Olama's cloud models, or ChatGPT models, or Anthropic models, or you switch back and forth between them. So it's really like more vendor agnostic. So I really like OpenCode. I know another tool that people are really vibing on these days is called My OpenCode, or OMO is what they call it. So that's not the same as OpenCode I just talked about. They call it OMO. And it's another great tool for, using multiple different providers as well. So, if a provider goes down and you're looking to try something new, I would definitely suggest checking out, if you're building an agent, OpenCode might be a good solution there. If you're just vibe coding, interactively, OMO is like pretty awesome. So OMO is pretty, like, how do you put it? You give it a goal, like what the feature is you want to ship, and it just keeps iterating until it gets there, which is what the other tools are supposed to do. But then I feel like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes, let's just be honest, I just feel like sometimes Claude Code gets lazy, and it's like, oh, I'm done. I'm like, did you test it? It's like, oh no, you wanted me to test it? I'm like, how do you even know it works if you didn't test it, right? And I'll be like, well, did you deploy it to the stage server? It's like, oh no, you wanted me to do that? I'm like, yeah, that's why I told you to do it from the get-go, like, I was like,
So it's like having a kid, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, one tip is like, Claude Code does have like a task list, and so a lot of times I'll say like, add these things to your task list, but then I feel like sometimes it's just like, no, I'm not going to add them to my task list. I'm not going to do what you asked me. I'm just too busy.
Well, just like having a kid.
Yeah, I'm too excited about rolling out this feature. I can't remember to test it, or, deploy it to the stage server, or do any of the other menial tasks you asked me to do. Anyways, OMO does a slightly better job, in my opinion, of like iterating till it gets to the feature done. What the downside of these tools is, typically they require, you to use the APIs, which the APIs are all like on a usage base. So they can get really expensive really fast. That's all I was trying to say. But, if the provider's down, you got to go somewhere. So all I want to say is, it seems really sus that the date is April 20th, 4/20, and that OpenAI is just like not working today, you know? So they're just like taking the day off. So I don't know what old Sammy boy's up to today, but I think we can all infer based on the timing of this event. Oh man.
They're like, yeah, have the day off, boys.
Yeah. Somebody made some great judgment calls. Anyways, as far as I know, I haven't heard the root cause of it. Like OpenAI has confirmed there's an outage, but they haven't stated the root cause, right?
Is it up now? Is it back up now?
Yeah, it was down for about 4 hours. I believe
my
it just got back up. I haven't had a chance to really test it since it got back up. And some people said that it was like kind of working for them earlier in the day, but then some people also reported that they lost their work, right? Like the project or the search chat history disappeared. So I guess that's probably a byproduct because they probably like reversed to an older version or something like that. But yeah, it should be back up now, allegedly. And there is a status page that you can go to if you type like status ChatGPT, and you can go there and see like, oh, it's up when it was up and down, which is kind of helpful. So that's, how I initially figured out this is not going to be a good day. It's going to definitely be a Monday, that's for sure. All right, well, hopefully they get that fixed. Shelby, you got anything fun or that you want to share with the group?
Fun in a morbid sort of way, I suppose.
Oh, those are the
I don't think
funnest.
fun and morbid go together. My bad. Anyway, for whatever it is, when he kind of talked about like the sub-agents potentially spawning out of control.
Yes. Mises.
Mises.
Those are called Mises.
Sub-agents Mises from now on?
Yeah, I approve of that.
Okay, approved. So I've discovered recently what I think is nature's probably most algorithmic creature. It must have very little thinking, and it just, if this, then this. So ants, when they find food, right? You see one little ant guy go find food, and then it makes a scent trail, and then the other ants follow. So the more ants that follow it, the stronger the scent becomes, and the more they're attracted to it. So, there's something called an ant death circle. So if an ant goes into a circle and another ant follows it and then another, they don't know how to get out of the loop. And the entire...
oh, no.
It's not a hive. What do you call it? The ant colony. That's it.
Colony,
the entire
yeah.
colony will just follow that until they just collapse from exhaustion and all die. It's
That's
called
awful.
an ant mill because they just follow the scent and that's all they do. And I think that's also like applicable in like resource management when we have like, a faulty logic in your programming and it just eats up all the resources until it falls, until you get a blue screen or something.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scenarios like that in both life and technology. So
there you have it. That's my fun fact of the day, ant mill. I'll send you a picture.
Okay, yeah, I definitely learned something about ants. I mean, I really didn't know anything about ants prior to this, other than I don't like it when they crawl on me. But
It's
yeah,
like my new life's ambition. I want to find an ant circle that's not too far gone yet and like interrupt it and save the colony, just make them
Ooh.
path back to their home and be like, okay, go live your lives.
Shelby, you're
Feel like a
When
little
you-
ant saver.
when you get to heaven, so many ants are gonna come up and be like fist bumping you, like so happy with you.
We'll see.
Me,
I'll have to find an ant mill first, but
they're gonna give me like the side eye. They're like, "Why didn't you find us and save us, Bryce?" And they're like, "I didn't know you wanted to be saved." This weekend I watched a documentary called The Age of Disclosure. Have you heard or seen this documentary, Shelby?
no, tell me.
It's all about UFOs and
Okay.
how now we're in the age where UFOs are being revealed to the public. And for real, the documentary was actually pretty good. Like I don't usually do documentaries, but it definitely kept my interest. And it kind of like walked you through the timeline of one of the people that has been working in some of the government task force to try to get information about UFOs or things like that, like different reportings from pilots, things like that. So anyways, I thought it was cool. And one of the core tenets that they believe is that different countries like Russia, China, America are reverse engineering or back engineering technology out of these crash retrievals, right? So like UFOs are crashing and then people are retrieving them and then they're reversing technology out of it. And I think we know how these people came up with LLMs now. They're just stolen from aliens, right? You know? So
Did we even pay them royalties?
no, they crash. They don't get any royalties if you crash. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a one-on-one relationship with the aliens, so I can't really speak to that. But if any alien wants to come talk to me, then we can work it out.
Or
We can
maybe
hug it
that's why
out.
the Pentagon is failing audits. They're sending money back to the aliens and they're actually providing the models.
Probably. I don't know. It is weird when you hear the labs talk about LLMs because like they talk about it like it's a little like chia pet, and they're like, well, we just pour more water on it and it just grows, right? And I'm like, bros, this is like the worst description ever. Like like you should at least try to like provide a like somewhat like I understand that you could start with an analogy, but you should probably follow up with something that's like actually real. Like
That's funny.
anyways, I don't really think LLMs are alien technology, but they could be. We don't know.
When you
Anything's
told me the
possible.
name of this documentary, my first thought was like legal requirements after a breach.
Oh,
But aliens is way more fun.
that'd be so fun. It could be like what to do when you get breached at a company. How do you file your SEC forms if you're the CISO? How do you start applying to other CISO jobs as soon as you file that paperwork? You
Sounds
know,
like a
so
riveting documentary. I'm sure everyone will love that.
it'd be like pro tips for CISOs. Start putting your resume out there before you do the SEC filing. Pro tip. Pro tip.
Ta-da!
Oh. Yeah. I don't know about you, but UFOs is definitely more fun than SEC filings. So, anything else you want to share with everyone, Shelby?
Nope, I already shared all my stuff with the class.
All right, well, that's our briefing for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know AI and cybersecurity moves really fast, and hopefully tuning into this pod helps you so you never miss a beat. And, until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.